Y'all want to see Blue? Here he go, child. He want to be in the business today. He has not shown his beautiful, handsome little face here on the channels in a minute. Say hi. He just want to get up here and be a baby. I guess, Papa, I guess you can help today. What is up, our YouTube family? Welcome back to our channel. If this is your first time here, then it's just welcome to our channel. Now, welcome back. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button because you will not be disappointed unless, of course, tell him, Blue. He said unless of course your taste level is lacking and everybody not able. And he said you shouldn't feel bad. I feel like you should. But we not gonna say all of that, baby. Don't cuss, okay? Don't cuss. Now, if you are new here, you don't know what's going on. This is a video sort of modeled after the show Beyond Belief Fact or Fiction. I'm a huge fan. I'm a dinosaur. I loved it when I was a little girl. You would see a number of stories play out that just seem beyond belief. Some of the stories really happened, some of them did not. And it is your job to try to figure out which ones fall under which category. In the end, we will tell you the answers, and the ones that are based off of true events, we will go into further detail. Without further ado, let's get into story number one. That's not our William. Saturday, March 10th started like any other. Nothing about it felt different, but it'd be the most monumental day of my life. Our life. My sweet boy waited half patiently for money to go to the movies right down the street. At 9, he loved Western films, and A Horseman of the Plains was playing at a nearby theater. William loves Tom Mix about as much as he loves sweets, and I look forward to a quiet afternoon to myself. One quiet afternoon is all I thought I was in for. I watched him until he turned the corner, and that was the very last I'd seen of him. That was months ago. I didn't sleep the first night he didn't return. Just before sunset, I'd gone to police to report him missing, and they shrugged their feet, said boys wander off and he'd likely turn up. But I know my boy, and I knew something was wrong. I wore the soles of my shoes thin looking for him. I knocked on every door in Lincoln Heights, called every phone number I had, family member, friend, associate, or stranger. Little boys don't vanish. Something had happened, and that ugly truth made knots in my stomach. Days turned into weeks, and as the search team of volunteers dwindled down to just me, I continued to pass out flyers and chase down every tip, which all had led to dead ends. After a while, I'd grown numb, the constant disappointment no longer allowing space for hope or expectations, and without that, there is no room for disappointment either. I felt nothing, but I continued to search. News spread of William's disappearance all across the country once it hit the news, and tons of strangers reached out to me, some offering hope and empathy, others accusing me of having done something to him. But I opened every single message anyway, just in case. Then 3 grueling months into William's disappearance, I get a call from the LAPD. They'd found William, alive. I had thought of how this moment would feel a million times over. My heart sank, yes. I could barely breathe, yes. But something still felt wrong, unfinished, out of place. It would be a few hours before I could see him because he'd been kidnapped and transported halfway across the country. He's being brought back now. And when the message alerts popped up with the images of him they promised me, I stared at them blankly, and instead of being waken up from this nightmare that I've been in for the past 3 months, the nightmare has continued. I held out hope that the boy standing in front of me in a few hours will be my William. Maybe the lighting or the angle is making him look different in these photos. Our reunion was arranged as a press conference with cameras flashing, a mic at a podium, and Captain Jones beaming like he just saved the world or found a cure for cancer. And the second the boy stepped out of that car, my stomach dropped. Nightmare confirmed. That's not my William. The boy, whoever he was, he ran to me, arms outstretched, and called me Ma. William had never called me that. He wasn't this tall, he wasn't this thin, and his hug had no warmth. Nothing like a 9-year-old boy who'd been estranged from his loving mother for 3 months and held captive by a strange man. I quietly tell Captain Jones that this boy is not my son, and he just smirks, tells me that I'm in shock, and when I insist that I'm certain, he tells me to try the boy and shrugs as if even if it were true, I should be happy to have his replacement. Try the boy out. Like he was a new pair of shoes. It's crazy. For 3 weeks, I watched him sleep in William's bed, answer to William's name, pretend he'd known me all his life, and I tried to make sense of it, but every day it became clearer and clearer that there was no sense to make. I cringed every time he called out to me by that name, Ma. Every time he wrapped his long, thin arms around me for a hug and looked up into my eyes, lying with his. Who are you? I finally asked, and without breaking eye contact or blinking, he says, I'm your son. but he was not, and he knew it just as well as I did. By week 4, I was fed up. I spoke with teachers who vouched for me. Even his doctors agreed with me that this was not him, and his dentist provided me a copy of Williams' dental records as irrefutable proof. When I brought all of this back to Captain Jones, he didn't just ignore me or shoo me away. He called me delusional, accusing me of enjoying the 3 months being child-free and now wanting to skip out on my duties as a single mother, go back to life without having to look after a child each day. He wasn't trying to hear a word I had to say, but I was determined to settle this and get this child returned to whoever he actually belonged with. When Captain Jones grew tired of my presence and persistence, he challenged my mental state and had me committed. 10 days in the psych ward before the little boy, whose real name is Arnold Harris, admits to actually being a 12-year-old runaway that had just gone along with the story of being a missing boy so he could have a new family since he didn't like his so much. That and so that he can get to Los Angeles in hopes of meeting his favorite actor, which just so happened to also be Tom Mix, Williams' favorite. His plan sounded good to him, completely oblivious to the effect that it'd have on someone else's life. They returned him to his parents, who were worried sick. I was allowed to go home without so much as an apology from anyone. Not the boy, not his parents, not the LAPD, and certainly not Captain Jones. I still don't know what happened to my son, but I hope he's still out there grown now, living a nice life with no memory of who he was, just ignorant bliss. I'm a mother. I'll never stop looking, and I'll forever keep the porch light on, just in case. Now, what do you think? Papa, you don't know the answers. Do you think it's a real one or not? Now, on to story number 2, Mirror, Mirror. After the breakup, I was supposed to be in my era of healing, doing the whole self-care, soft life thing, yoga, journaling regularly, deleted our photos, pretended I was too evolved to stalk his socials at 2 a.m. because that's what we call growth, right? I was doing good before her. And it started with a tag on Instagram. A mutual posted a pic of his engagement party with the caption, "Love looks good on y'all," heart eyes emoji, hashtag twin flames. And I almost didn't click. Almost. The new fiance, Ari, looked just like me. Like, just like me. Same big brown eyes, same curl pattern and natural hairstyle. Same smile with the hand placement over the chest. It's always been a thing, me not knowing what to do with my hands in photos, so I defaulted to that mostly. Something he and I laughed about, and it was funny seeing her do it here, but like funny weird. I stared at the screen, sick to my stomach. She looked so much like me that I thought it was a joke. Photoshopped to make her look like me, but why would that be? I continued to look through the slides and came across a video of her talking, and her voice was also very similar to mine, deep, raspy, and southern. Her laugh also the same. It was the strangest thing, and it wasn't just me. People in the comments were catching it too. One comment read, "Yo, I thought this was Cameron at first, WTF," with a shocked emoji. "He definitely has a type, LOL," read another. Someone else even asked if she was my sister or cousin, and if you were keeping it in the family. None of those comments had a reply from him. Not even a like. I dropped it in the group chat and everyone acknowledged that it was kind of weird, but chalked it up to him having a type and us all having a doppelganger somewhere. And I said I would go back to staying off of his socials and try to forget about it, but later that night, here I was again looking at her. I couldn't get over how much she looked and sounded like me, and then it hit me. You know the feeling when a memory or a detail that you're trying to recall brushes up against the edge of your memory but doesn't fully load? I felt like I knew her from somewhere, but for the life of me, I couldn't place it. She felt very familiar. I click on her profile and go down the rabbit holes of her Facebook photo albums, going all the way back to our high school days, and I see the name of the high school. It's the same one I attended, and I thought, oh, maybe that's where I know her from. Maybe in passing at school, but the truth was a lot more disturbing than that. I looked at tagged photos of her inside of a high school with her book bag, thick nerdy glasses, braces, and a horrible case of teenage acne, frizzy hair, and my heart sank. Clicking on the album from middle school, the one called 8th Grade Lock-In, I almost dropped my phone. And there I was, baby fat, heat-damaged hair, braces I was so happy would be coming off in the summer before we started high school, and standing next to me, her. Only she wasn't Ari back then, she was Danielle, the girl I used to paint nails with during sleepovers and pass notes written on Lisa Frank paper with in class, who called me her forever friend. The girl I ghosted when the braces came off and I got cute and popular came 9th grade. As soon as I got a little attention from the popular and attractive kids at school, I left behind anything that didn't match my new aesthetic. At some point, she had removed all of my tags from these photos, or maybe I had when I no longer wanted to be associated with that version of me. I clicked through more of the pictures. The glow up was slow but strategic, and it was obvious that I was all over the mood board. Eventually, the braces came off to straighten teeth. She learned to control the frizz in her hair. She's a lot curvier now as an adult, but you can tell from how toned she is that her body is also worked for. Contacts, just a few shades lighter than her natural deep brown to match the honey brownness of mine. Odd. It's also odd that she's now going by the first 3 letters of her middle name, which is Ariana, and I go by Cam, the first 3 letters of Cameron. She didn't just glow up and reinvent herself. She became me, and now she had him. And this had obviously always been the plan. And last but not least this week, story number 3, Forever My Baby. People assume it was my idea, like I'd suffer from some sort of postpartum psychosis that made me decide to keep Elijah small, as if I want this for my son. It wasn't like that. He asked me to. It started when he was 6, I think, maybe 7. He had a rough year in school, kids teasing him, saying he was weird because he still brought his favorite blankie in his backpack and still wanted me to walk him in. He came home one day with his face all red and blotchy and his eyes swollen. "Mommy," he said, climbing into my lap like he did when he was a toddler, "can I just stay little forever?" And I thought he meant it the way kids say things they really don't truly mean, but he meant it. He didn't want to go back to school. He just wanted to stay at home with me. I tried to encourage him to push through it, tried to set boundaries with him to create structure, all of those things. But when he started getting sick, headaches, panic attacks, night terrors that would leave him shaking, I couldn't keep sending him to that place, so I pulled him out of school and homeschooled him. It was supposed to be temporary, but Elijah started doing so well. He was better almost immediately. He was happier, he slept better. He started asking if I'd do things like I used to, like tuck him in, hand him his stuffed teddy bear to sleep with, then a pacifier. Over the next several years, he reverted even further back to baby-like interests, stacking blocks, thumb-sucking, crawling, bottles, and diapers. The doctors found him to be a perfectly healthy boy. It wasn't like his motor skills were declining. He just wanted to live as a baby. Now, standing 5'6" and 31 years old, he's asked for a bed like the kind in the photos of him just coming home from the hospital. A crib. We had one custom made to fit him comfortably, large enough for him to still feel like a small baby inside of it. How can a mother deny her child something they said was the only thing that made them feel safe? His voice got deeper, but he still talked like a child, and every word that came from his mouth sounded forced and unnatural, no matter how hard he tried to make it sound high and sweet. I felt it was a bit strange, but I still leaned in. I'm his mother. It's my job to protect him. We turned his room into an adult-sized nursery, complete with a playpen. He stopped leaving the house, and eventually people stopped asking about him. He didn't care to see anyone else though, just me. Just mommy. We ordered special size adult diapers, reinforced the crib to hold up to 500 pounds. He didn't get around much, and so he was gaining weight. We built a high chair to hold him up as well. He kicks his feet when he sees his bottle coming, just like he used to when he was small. Claps when he sees me come up with snacks. Enjoys hearing bedtime stories until he falls asleep. And sometimes in the dead of night, he'll force a cry as childlike as he can muster, and I'll hold him while he tells me that he had a nightmare, that he had to be a grown-up. And then I reassure him that it was just a bad dream and that he was forever my baby. Now, what do you think? Story number 1. That's not our William. Papa, you don't know the answers. Do you think it's your real one or not? A little boy like yourself chasing a fantasy in a police department that is too desperate for good press to dig deeper and find the truth, and instead sent the lady to the psychiatric ward. If you guessed that this was based off of true events, you will be correct. This is a true story. This lady here is Christine Collins, and this is her son, Walter Collins, her real son, who went missing in Los Angeles in 1928. And here she is with the imposter child, 12-year-old Arthur Hutchins Jr. And don't he look like he's up to no damn good? Child, look at him just playing these people's faces. Look at his face. He just looks like a scammer, even at age 12. And in 1928, and this poor woman, look at her face, child. A mess. Anyway, Arthur had run away from his Iowa home where he lived with his father and stepmother. And Lil Arthur was just out loose in the world when the police stumbled across him over in Illinois. Now, when they asked him if he was Walter Collins, son of Christine, initially he said no, but when he learned that the missing boy was a missing boy from LA, he decided to just go with it. His hopes was that he would make it to LA to meet his favorite actor at the time, Tom Mix, and he did not at all think that it would get that serious once he got there. They sent this child by a train to LA, where the police and the media were all waiting for him with lights, cameras, and action. And still, even with Christine saying that he was not her son, he continued to go with it. He told his story, which was that an unknown man had approached him and told him that he was his real father and had asked him to go with him to buy a suit, and that this man had actually kidnapped him and took him all the way down to Illinois. Now, as for Walter Collins' real father, he was actually in prison at the time. And according to the LA Times, Christine was told to, quote, just try out the boy when she first raised her concerns that he was not actually Walter. And she actually cared for him for an entire 3 weeks before going to police with the proof that this was not her son. And that is when Captain Jones ordered her out of his face and to be committed. He accused her of trying to evade her responsibilities as a single mother. He said that she had enjoyed the time that she had been without her son, and in that time realized that she preferred a child-free lifestyle, and that she was now trying to pin her kid on the state and have the state take care of him. She spent 5 days in the psychiatric ward, and during that time, the child confessed its real identity and said that he was actually this runaway kid from Iowa. At that point in jail, he had probably been there 5 days and was like, it ain't looking like I'm gonna meet Tom Mix, okay? Ready to go home to my bed. Now, once Christine Collins was released, she actually sued the city for false imprisonment, and she won a settlement of $10,800, which will be roughly around $170,000 today. Money that they sadly actually never paid her. And sadly, it was ultimately concluded also by the LAPD that her son was a victim of a child killer, Gordon Northcott. Walter Collins' remains were not among the 11 pair or sets of remains of children that they did find on Gordon's chicken farm over in Wildville, California. But his mother, Sarah Northcott, who was well aware of her son's actions and actually even admitted to assisting him in the things, said that Walter was one of the children. Christine didn't know what to believe at that point. She held out hope that her little Walter was not actually a victim of theirs and was still out there somewhere. Sadly, she searched for him until her death in 1964. Now on to story number 2. The woman who finds out via messy Facebook that her ex now has a fiance who looks eerily similar to her, talks like her, that she recognizes from back in the day. What was your guess? I wish I could see y'all's answers in real time. If your guess was that this was based on an actual event, you would be wrong. I actually wrote this story and I loved this story. It almost did not make the video. I do want to write and publish a book, and I'm thinking about doing a collection of short stories as opposed to like one full novel, because the way my little touch of dism girl and my little short attention span is set up, I think that would work and be more fitting for me. And so I really got to liking this plot. There were so many ideas that I had that I could use to like fluff it out into a longer story, and I really felt like it deserved a bigger moment than, no shade, this video. Maybe there's still room for that to happen. I was also off and edible when I wrote it, and when I was thinking that, oh my gosh, this is a good story. So I don't know, my little child, maybe there was some inflated feelings and opinions, but I really liked this one at the time that I wrote it. And last but not least this week, story number 3. A mommy and son who just cannot let go of that beautiful prepubescent toddler titty latch stage. Do you think I made this up? Do you refuse to believe that this man is somewhere sucking on his bottle and his thumb? This here is Stanley, and Stanley lives life as a toddler. He sleeps inside of his crib here that is customized to fit his size. It is 3 feet wide, 7 feet long, and he gets right in there, honey, and tucks himself in. He has baby toys. He has a bottle. He has to have a bottle every day. I don't recall if he wanted it in the morning or the evening time. But he has to have that and his pacifier. He also has this high chair that he eats out of, and although he is fully potty trained, he prefers to utilize these diapers. So he takes an adult Depend, and then he takes an actual kid diaper that has high absorbency. I think that's like what, a number 5? I don't know nothing about no kids, girl, but I think that I bought those diapers before. Anyway, he lines the adult diaper inside of the kid one to give it that extra absorbency, and he just lets that diaper have it for up to 9 hours. He says that his diapers, he just likes to wear them. They feel like, quote, a cozy hug from mommy. And Stanley said that if he is crazy, if this what crazy is, then he'd rather be that than normal. He don't want to be like y'all. Period, Stanley. He said he don't want to be like y'all, no way. He said, who made y'all the standard? I know that's right. Anyway, that is it for this week. I really enjoyed doing these. Let me know your thoughts down below. As always, whether it's the true crime, the beyond belief, or all of the things, I appreciate you spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Peace. Don't forget to like my video and subscribe to the channel if you have not.